Sushma's midnight ultimatum to Pakistan. Will Islamabad play dodgeball on NSA talks once again? Our top focus this evening, the standoff between India and Pakistan intensifying ahead of NSA-level talks that have been slated for Monday in a strongly worded rebuttal to Pakistan's posturing ahead of those talks. Sushma Swaraj has set a midnight deadline for Islamabad. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj said during a press conference that Pakistan took 22 days to respond to India's call for NSA talks, and that if talks were to happen, Pakistan should not involve a third party. Sushma Swaraj reiterated that India will welcome Pakistan NSA Sartaj Aziz only if talks are confined to terror and Hurriyat leaders are not involved. NSA Sartaj Aziz said at a press conference earlier in Islamabad that he is still prepared to hold talks with his counterpart Ajit Doval without any preconditions. All right, Sushma Swaraj, they're making it extremely clear that the agenda for NSA-level talks cannot be anything but terror, and NSA-level talks should not be confused with bilateral dialogue. We have our team of reporters tracking this big story for us. Smita Sharma, our deputy editor, is with us live from the national capital. She's in fact joined by Raj Chingappa, editorial director, India Today Group. We also have Javed Ansaria, executive editor, in the studio with us. Smita, I want to come to you first. We got that reaction from Kapil Sibal as well, saying ultimatums cannot work in a diplomatic environment. In diplomatic relations, you can't give an ultimatum to Pakistan saying that you need to make your stand clear by midnight tonight. If you don't, then talks will be called off. What do you think will play out from this point onwards? We've seen a barrage of press conferences through the day. What happens next?
Well, we can surely hope for further, in fact, press statements, if not for press conferences, for sure, because this is not the last word that we've heard on this Indo-Pak thriller that's been playing out for the last 72 hours now, non-stop. It's clearly a Friday flick here playing out in both countries, Simi. But let me get in a word from Raj. Kapil Sibal has just done a press conference, and he said that ultimatums do not work in diplomacy.
Kamal or Kapil Sibal?
Kapil Sibal. And the way...
you mean the Congress?
The Congress.
Yes,
and the way Sushma Swaraj has said that till midnight today is basically the deadline. Would you think that that is a right way of projecting that?
Well, unfortunately, what has happened in the last 2 days is we've seen a very messy spectacle. I thought for the first time since afternoon we've had some clarity, both a very clear enunciation of why Pakistan wanted to bring all these issues in from Sartaj Aziz Saab, and from the Indian Foreign Minister we had a very a great deal of clarity. She took it right back into history and then brought it up to speed and told us why the UFA spirit was important, that there was an agreement, and we could certainly talk about all these other issues, that India was not running away from the Kashmir issue. But this issue was called primarily to deal with terror, because as India has always maintained, we cannot deal with terror with a gun on our heads. Right. We need a conducive atmosphere. And so this was, and as she very rightly pointed out, that all the early issues when we discussed Kashmir, it was at the Foreign Secretary level. So let us first get over this hump. And I like the analogies that she used, that, it's always been a bumpy ride. Yeah. And it brought, visions of the old ambassador car bouncing around with a lot of speed breakers and, tires. So I think, I think what we are calling for in some senses is that we need a whole new car, to take India-Pakistan relations forward. We're tired of this to and froing, this kind of drama. It's almost like, as you were saying, watching an Indo-Pak match.
I'm wondering if the Americans will have to get into car manufacturing here, pushing aside the Germans.
No. I think we made it very clear that it's bilateral. And jokes apart, this is serious business, Smita. I've always maintained. This is not your playing cricket and winning and losing. This is about lives. This is about the country both the countries moving forward. And I thought the Modi Sarkar had finally got its act right on this matter. They yielded on France. They were obdurate last year when they cancelled Foreign Secretary talks. They looked bad outside, but they came back with the UFA spirit.
But just one final question before I throw it back to Simi for now. At the end of the day, one of the basic bones of contentions has been how both sides have gone about in interpreting the UFA statement. Pakistan, they're interpreting, saying that outstanding issues meant Kashmir, but India making it clear that that is in the context of dialogue. This is not really the resumption of a dialogue. After this, now what? Is there still hope that in the next 6 hours you'll perhaps see some possible assurance from Pakistan that they will not raise Kashmir issue, that they will not ask for Hurriyat involvement, and thereby Sartaj Aziz will come in?
You see, I think finally when you look at this, it's like dealing with people. There has to be a win-win. For the core issue for us is terror. Okay? For them it's Kashmir. We have, I think, India's foreign minister made it very clear that we were not saying no to talk on Kashmir. We were only saying in this particular meeting, let's deal with terror. We are willing to go forward on this matter. I think Pakistan has made the right amount of drama if it wanted to do that, yes, in terms of bringing Kashmir to the forefront to say, our government is doing this and look at the way India is doing it. If they see sense, I would expect them to take the offer, because let's not forget, we actually upgraded it. For a long time, Pakistan wanted NSA level talks on all these issues. We have actually done it.
But if Sartaj Aziz was still to come, wouldn't there be enough drama again, perhaps? Because New Delhi would go ahead with detention of Hurriyat leaders.
No, that's a different matter. How you deal with that crisis, we need to move forward. Look, Hurriyat is a very small component of all these things. It's been blown out of proportion on this. India is a large country, very strong about what it wants. It is clear on its Kashmir policy, has been clear for many years. We are not going to yield because a couple of people are going to make us sit and stand and protest on the road. We have showed resilience in the northeast. We've sorted that out. We've had a great agreement with Bangladesh recently. I don't see why we shouldn't be moving forward with Pakistan. Why should we go back to the old shibboleths or to this old Gadi that she rides on?
Yes, so there is hope that perhaps, even if there is a postponement of these talks, if these talks don't happen, but there is definitely that sort of statement seemed to be that, there has to be a way forward from this CME. And we saw a couple of interesting jumlas there also being used by Sushma Swaraj, and also the dossier question stating that even if Sartaj Aziz were to come with 3 dossiers, कि वो हमें dossier देंगे तो हम उन्हें एक जिंदा आदमी देंगे. But for now, clearly in the next 6 hours is when we are expecting some more press statements from the Pakistani side, Simi.
Smita, stay on with us. Let's also get a word from Kasbar, who's with us live from Islamabad. Kasbar, we're seeing a barrage of press conferences after Sartaj Aziz addressed the media in Islamabad. A retort coming in from Sushma Swaraj. How is the Pakistani government reacting to the statement made by the Indian External Affairs Minister?
I think things are very much clear up now. So after the Sushma Swaraj's press conference content, Pakistan is very clear for now. So thing is, Pakistan has said it will not go ahead with the talks until it's allowed to meet Hurriyat leaders, and then there is a question of Kashmir issue. So also Pakistani side would like to raise the issue of Kashmir in this NSA talk. So one thing is very much clear, that is Pakistani side would choose to get back from the talks, because Sartaj Aziz has clearly said during the press briefing that Pakistan would not go ahead until talks on Kashmir and then meeting with the Hurriyat leaders are ensured. So I believe there might be a formal statement from Pakistani side that we are not going ahead with the NSA talk. So at the moment, I'm expecting such type of statement from Pakistani side.
All right, Kasab, we're going to keep coming back to you for more hectic developments this evening. Sushma Swaraj, they're making it clear that a clear answer needs to come from Pakistan by midnight tonight. Whether or not talks will take place will become clear by this evening. We're going to our top focus this evening on India today is on the standoff between India and Pakistan on NSA level talks. Sushma Swaraj has set a midnight deadline for Islamabad. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj said during a press conference that Pakistan took 22 days to respond to India's call for talks. We have our executive editor Javed Ansari, who's with us in our studio. Javed Ansari, Sushma Swaraj actually broke down the entire dialogue that happened between India and Pakistan at UFA. She said that there were 3-tier talks that were discussed. BSF and Park Rangers were supposed to meet, Director General Military Operations were supposed to meet, and then NSA talks were to be held to discuss only terror. Would you say that Pakistan is shifting the goalpost, or is there some confusion in dialogue?
No, not at all. In fact, Pakistan is very much shifting the goalpost, and once you do something like this, then problems are bound to arise. And Sushma Swaraj very firmly yet very courteously articulated India's position. She made it abundantly clear that if the goalposts are changed, then these talks will not happen.
Also, you know, Dhanasari, she's also making it very clear that NSA level talks should not be confused with bilateral dialogue, because bilateral talks can only happen when heads of states meet.
Yes, she's made it clear that bilateral talks, the composite level dialogue cannot take place at the level of the NSA. The NSA level talks were designed specifically for the purpose of handling the issue that has arisen currently on the border. It was done so that these two could meet, reduce tensions, then the DGMOs would meet, and of course the DGs of BSF and Rangers would meet. So this was a three-tiered approach. Pakistan now appears to have realized perhaps that they've goofed up in UFA, and now they are under pressure from the powers that be in Pakistan. So therefore there's this afterthought of bringing in Kashmir. India will certainly not accept that.
Well, so you see that the intention probably is not there, especially from the side of Pakistan. Let's also get in a word from our callers. We're asking them to respond. We're asking them if this is a tennis match that's going on between India and Pakistan, and is Pakistan only waiting for India to take the first step to bite the bullet. We are asking our callers to call us on the numbers flashing on your screens. We have our first caller, Tushar, who's with us on the phone line from Gurgaon. Yes, Tushar, go ahead.
Hello, a very good evening to you and the gentlemen sitting in the studio.
Yes, Tushar.
Just wanted to tell that the question you are posing, that about the kind of on what the kind of ultimatum. I should say that it should not be posed as a kind of ultimatum. Now, after hearing our Foreign Affairs Minister, it has been very clear to a layman like me that the thing which were actually discussed and proposed on UFA deal is what we are putting to our neighbor Pakistan. So if they are saying something else, that the Jammu and Kashmir issue is a prior issue or something, and other thing else, talks on fair is the secondary issue, should be questioned on that point, that whether the UFA, the things which were actually placed in UFA deal is what actually. So if as I'm sure she has clearly mentioned that UFA has clearly in UFA the thing was
absolutely. You're saying that basically Pakistan is backing down. Tushar, thanks so much for calling us and sharing your views with us. Javed Ansari, I want to bring you into this discussion here. Sushma Swaraj said that there have been repeated ceasefire violations by Pakistan after talks at UFA. She said that there were 91 ceasefire violations that were reported, then the Dinanagar attack, and then Udhampur. So Pakistan, she was saying that clearly they have back channel pressure on the government to call off talks.
Yes. You know, she cited this example to buttress the point that the Indian government, despite these obvious provocations, yet stood firm in its resolve to ensure that these talks carry on. Unfortunately, the same effort, the same kind of commitment was not forthcoming from the Pakistani side. The political leadership now appears to be under pressure from the military establishment in Pakistan, and therefore now, as an afterthought, they brought in Kashmir, which was certainly not what was agreed upon in UFA.
Absolutely. Sushma Swaraj, they're making it clear that there was repeated pressure from Pakistan to call off talks. Sushma also saying that we have been pressure from the opposition as well to call off talks, but we've stood our ground, realizing the importance of the two sides coming to the talks table. We're going to continue tracking developments. We'll keep getting reactions from our team of experts tracking this big story for us. We'll also play out political reactions like we did where Kapil Sibal criticized this failure of talks, saying that it shows that the Indian side is probably not too well prepared.